The ash fell like snow. It blanketed everything, suffocating the once vibrant plains and the tall, spired cities. What had once been the bustling capital of the Canosian Empire was now a graveyard, a ruin half buried beneath the gray. I stood on the balcony of what had been my home, a towering monument of glass and steel, and gazed out at the horizon. There was no sky anymore. Only darkness, a swirling vortex of angry clouds, thunder rumbling like the wrath of ancient gods. I had a clear view of the crater where the Grand Plaza used to be. Now it was just a smoking hole in the ground. I didn't know if anyone still lived in the city. Probably not. Those that hadn't died from the earthquakes, the floods, or the fires had likely fled into the wastelands or tried to reach the stars. Most had failed. Most of our ships never made it past the debris that now surrounded our dying world, huge chunks of the planet's core and mantle, thrown into the sky by volcanic eruptions and tremors. And then there was me, standing amidst the wreckage. I was a soldier once, part of the proud Canosian Defense Corps. We had held the line during the first waves of chaos, fought against the riots, the looters, the desperate masses. But as the months dragged on, even the military dissolved into nothing. My comrades had either died or deserted. What was the point in following orders when there was no one left to give them? My hand reflexively touched the communicator strapped to my wrist. I still had my old duties, broadcasting the same message over and over again into the void. This is First Lance Caltech of the Canosian people. We beg any who hear this message for aid. Our world is collapsing into its star. Please, help us. Message repeats. It was pointless. Utterly pointless. I hadn't received a reply in weeks. The galactic community, the ones who should have helped us, had turned their backs. They had left us to die. After everything we had done, after following their rules, after showing up to every council meeting and every call for aid across the galaxy, they had turned their backs on us the moment we needed them most. My species, the Canosians, were once a proud and powerful people. For 40 years, we had been members of the galactic community, a collection of advanced species that spanned the galaxy. We had shared our technology, our culture, our resources. But none of that mattered now, not when we were the ones on the brink of extinction. I clenched my fist, the anger boiling inside me like the molten rivers that now carved through the remains of our world. The GC had been quick to lecture us about responsibility when we discovered that our mining of the planet's core had destabilized its axis. We'd been warned about the consequences of drilling too deep, but no one had thought it would come to this, the entire planet breaking apart, slowly spiraling toward our sun. What did you think was going to happen? A human ambassador had once told us, "You tried to mine the heart of your world. It's collapsing because of you." They were right, of course. We had destroyed ourselves, and no one cared. I felt a tremor beneath my feet, the ground shivering in protest as another quake hit. I steadied myself, knowing that soon even this tower would crumble into the dust. The countdown had begun. The final days of Canosia. My communicator crackled, static hissing in my ear. I was about to ignore it, as I had 1,000 times before, but something was different this time. A flicker of a signal, a heartbeat. "This is First Lance Caltech of the Canosian people. We beg," the message began, before I abruptly cut it off, my breath catching. A signal? After weeks of silence? I fumbled with the controls, my heart pounding in my chest. "This is Caltech. Do you read me?" I repeat, "This is Caltech. Who is this?" A long pause. For a moment, I thought it was just interference, another cruel joke played by the collapsing planet. But then a voice crackled back through the static. "We hear you. First Lance Caltech. Do you copy?" I blinked, not believing what I was hearing. My throat tightened. Yes, I copy. This is Caltech. Who are you? What is your location?" My voice was shaking, desperate. "We're triangulating your position," the voice replied. "Hang tight. We're on our way." A mixture of disbelief and confusion washed over me. Someone had answered. But who? The galactic community had made it clear we were on our own. The humans had refused to intervene. No one had come, even as our cries grew more desperate. I swallowed, my mouth dry. "Who are you?" I managed to ask. Another crackle of static, followed by a simple, unexpected answer. "Humans." The shock hit me like a tidal wave. Humans. But the GC had rejected our pleas. The human representatives had been among the first to vote against any assistance, arguing that we had brought this upon ourselves. And now they were coming. I don't understand, I stammered. You said you wouldn't help. We are not the galactic community, the voice answered. We're a civilian relief effort. There's no time to explain. Hold your position. We're coordinating multiple fleets. Fleets? My head was spinning, disbelief turning into cautious hope. Relief efforts. Civilian fleets. I turned my gaze back to the dark sky, scanning the swirling clouds, and then I saw it alight. Faint at first, almost imperceptible against the backdrop of ash and storms, but it was there. And then another, and another. Lights. Ships. I stumbled back, my heart racing. How many of you are there? I whispered, but the voice on the other end didn't respond to my question. Instead, more voices joined in, overlapping, filling the silence with an overwhelming rush of sound. Interplanetary Federation of the Red Cross Fleet reporting. Doctors Without Borders Fleet reporting. Action Against Hunger Fleet reporting. UNHCR Fleet reporting. The names of the fleets rolled in, one after another. Humanitarian organizations, civilian efforts, medical teams, disaster relief groups. I didn't understand half of the names. My mind struggled to keep up. World Food Program Fleet reporting. World Health Organization fleets reporting. Girl Scouts of America fleet reporting. I couldn't comprehend it. Ships were now visible in the distance, growing larger, closer, descending through the clouds like angels. Hundreds of them, thousands, their lights cutting through the stormy darkness. They were here. The humans had come, not as warriors, but as saviors. Tears stunned my eyes, and I let them fall. I had held on to so much anger, so much hate for the galactic community, for the humans who had abandoned us. But now, as I watched ship after ship touch down, I felt something else, something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. I activated my communicator again, barely able to speak through the lump in my throat. This is Caltech. There are survivors, thousands in the shelters beneath the city. We know, came the calm reply. We're already moving in. We'll evacuate as many as we can. Another voice cut in. World Central Kitchen Fleet reporting. Langar Kana Fleet reporting. Salvation Army Fleet reporting. I couldn't stop the flood of emotions. It was overwhelming. I turned back to the horizon, where more ships were landing, the skies above now dotted with lights, like stars were born. I ran. I didn't know why, but I ran toward the nearest landing site, my feet kicking up ash as I sprinted across the broken ground. When I arrived, I saw them humans, pouring out of their ships, carrying supplies, medical equipment, food, water. They were already moving with such speed, such efficiency, like they'd done this 1,000 times before. A young woman with dark skin and short hair approached me, her expression determined. Are you Caltech? I nodded, breathless. Yes. How many can you evacuate? She looked at me with eyes that seemed far older than her years. We're the first wave, she said. More are coming. We'll get as many out as we can. I glanced back at the sky, where even more ships were descending, more than I could count. Peace Corps Fleet reporting. Mercy Ships Fleet reporting. I turned back to the woman, my voice trembling. Why? Why are you doing this? She smiled softly, her eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in so long, compassion. Because it's the right thing to do. I stood there, surrounded by the ash, the ruins of my world, and the humans who had come to save us. For the first time in a long time, I believed we might survive.